like if you don't know what no stress feels like,
Yes.
it feels uncomfortable,
Yes.
right? And so you have to learn how to de-stress, and then it's a continued thing. It's almost like you don't just de-stress once and then stay there, because it's so easy to
Yes.
climb back up.
And then to also decide what you want to do with the times when you're not stressed, when you're not like doing all the other things, right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I know for myself, when my mom, so it was in June, and then afterwards I was like, oh, like, who is Sandy Scott? What do I do
Yeah.
now? Right? Like,
Yeah.
and then at the same time, my daughter, now they became engaged, my daughter and her fiance. So it was really like a transition for me, like, as
Yeah.
far as, like, I take care of my mom, I take care of my daughter. Now they're both in great place. Of course, I'm still going to take care of them,
Yeah.
but not so hands-on, so to
Mhm.
speak. And then it's like, who is Sandy Scott? What do? I just work. I do mortgages. That's all I do. There must be something else.
What you said, that who is Sandy Scott? And I went through that last year. Who is Belinda? What brings Belinda joy? What does Belinda like to do? Because also being the caregiver as my children were getting
And your
older,
boys are growing up, yeah.
and they didn't need me as much, it was like I had to sit with myself and think, what do I want to do?
Other than just running a business.
Other than running a business and doing all these different things. And the journey is not over. I have definitely found, one or two things. Welcome back to Hear Me Out with Belinda. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of community connection and being brave and showing your vulnerability. But before I introduce you to my guest, please go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. So today's guest is Sandy Scott. Welcome to the show, Sandy.
Thank you, Belinda. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I think we need to go back to the beginning of how we met.
Yes.
And so I had just opened my hearing clinic here in Okotoks, and my husband had attended the Chamber Golf fundraiser and met you there.
That's right.
And he came home with your business card.
Or calendar, probably.
One or the other. You're
Yeah.
very famous for your calendar.
Yes, I think it was showing my calendar. That's right. Yes, I remember meeting him there.
Yes.
I feel like that was the one where I was giving out sausage rolls from the British Banger.
Okay.
And it became a little bit of a joke.
Okay.
We won't go there, but you can imagine.
Yes.
The Banger. And so, yes, that was, I think, when I met your husband,
Okay.
which was great. And then he told me about you, and it happened to be that I was looking for that for my mum,
Right.
because I thought she was maybe losing some of her hearing.
Yeah.
And then I came to you for that. And then we just connected through those different things.
That's right. So then I did manage to help your mum.
You did, yes.
And then sort of fast forward, we've seen each other at the trade show, a few
Yes.
times. And then last year, you were in the clinic and you had mentioned that the Women's Entrepreneurial Group, and you said that you could see if you would give me an
Yes.
invite. Yeah. And yeah,
Sarah.
that's how I met Sarah and started the show. Actually,
Perfect.
was that,
See, that's so great, all the connections.
and that's what I'm
I
going
love
back to, that importance about that community connection, right? Is having those connections within the community and stuff. And I
Yes.
know since moving to Okotoks 2 years ago, it's even better, right? Because it's one thing to have your business here.
It's only 2 years you've been here?
Yeah, because my
Wow.
oldest was finishing high school, and he did
Okay.
want to finish high school at his high school.
Yeah.
And so we had to time it between the correct schools and
Okay.
everything. So we managed to move. He had a few months left. But yeah, February 2 years ago that we've actually...
2024. So that must have been
Yeah.
2024 June then, or whenever the Chamber Golf tournament was that I met your husband.
No, so that was when we actually moved our residence. It was the chamber
Oh,
would have been 2021 maybe.
Yeah,
when
that's
I
what
had
yeah,
opened,
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause
Oh,
then it
you
was
moved
so
your
quick.
residence, correct.
Yeah, 'cause
Your
we-
business has been here a lot longer.
Yeah, we celebrate 5 years.
Wow.
April.
Yeah, 2 years didn't make sense to me. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but so my family moved years ago, but the business has been
Wow.
5 years now within the community.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that was that long ago that I brought my mum in. Yeah, I don't remember how long ago it was. Time just flies by.
Yeah, it does fly by, right? So
Yeah.
And then going into the connections. I think we actually the group is called Creating Connections now,
Yes.
which is really just
Which it does.
lovely. But you expressed some vulnerability in December. I remember just before Christmas. Are you okay sharing your story with us today?
Yes. I mean, I have a lot of vulnerability. Which particular one? No, I know you're talking about what I'd shared about my health.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, and now it almost feels like it. I mean, thank God I haven't had any more of those episodes, but at the time it was very, very scary.
Yeah.
So you'd like me to explain what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're okay sharing,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
I think it's important to share because I think as women, we do not take care of ourselves. We were just actually speaking of this off camera, weren't we, about
Yeah.
self-care? So, yeah, I was just having a regular day. I was actually happened to be at my daughter. She just moved back to Okotoks, so I was helping her with some stuff in the house. It's probably an unstressful morning because I wasn't working. And I just was feeling like unusually out of breath. So, and I don't also usually feel out of breath at all, but more so than just maybe if you've walked fast. And I was just like, and I'm thinking, like something seems off. And then my daughter had actually left to just take her little kitten to the vet just down at Big Rock. And I was in the there and I was just folding some laundry. And I was on the bed and I'm thinking, like this doesn't really feel, what could I have done that I feel so out of breath? So then I thought, it's probably nothing. I just want to carry on. Like we had this very short time to spend together and she had some other stuff to do. I had other stuff to do. But then when she came back, Sammy said, "What's wrong, Mum?" Now, honestly, if I had been at home, Belinda, I would have probably ignored that and carried on with my work and thought, oh, maybe I'm doing too much because I have a 4-level split, so I'm always up and down the stairs. Yeah. Anyway, Samantha said, "Mum, let me take you. Let's go to the emergency." So I really don't want to go. I wasn't trying to be a martyr. I just didn't think it was anything. But it was definitely something out of the ordinary. So we did go. They took me in right away and the nurse did the thing. She said, "Oh, well, no wonder you're out of breath. You're in AFib." I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I never heard of it. You said you hadn't.
I hadn't heard of it either.
Right?
Yeah.
So I said, what does that mean? Anyway, long story short, it's an irregular heartbeat, which also includes an elevated heartbeat. So when we got to the hospital, my heart rate was at 180.
Oh.
And again, I'll be honest, I didn't even know what it's supposed to be at. It's like supposed to be under 100.
Yeah.
So they did then put me on an IV. And again, I was just in shock. Like I didn't know what that was. She said, "What have you been doing?" I said, "I've just had a regular morning." They did try to bring it down by giving me an IV with some medication. I don't remember the name of it. But it wasn't going down. So then they sent me to South Health Campus where they did a chest x-ray and a CAT scan.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they checked everything, which is a good thing. There was nothing going on in my chest. But then the doctor came and I'd sat for one. He said to me, "Oh, we're just going to stop and then reset your heart." Like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And so when he explained everything, that's apparently common. Like,
wow.
if you have that. Right?
Yeah.
So what they do is literally, it's like the,
the paddle.
Yeah, they put it one here and on the back. Literally takes less than 5 minutes. Like Samantha was out of the room for not even 5 minutes. And I said to him, like, "Is this your first?" You know me, I'm always joker. I said, "Have you done this before?" He's like, "No, you're just my first one. We'll just give it a shot." But he was really great. All the staff were amazing. I always praise all the staff I've ever had. I had 2 knee replacement surgeries beginning of 2024. And I always had great care. That was at South Health Campus too. So they did do that and it did go back into rhythm. They gave me blood thinners to go home with and then I had appointments with a cardiologist. So I had it once again. So that was November 21st. We missed Light Up Okotoks, which I was frustrated about. But so we were in the hospital for about 12 hours in total. And my daughter and her fiance came and sat with me the whole time. We left there about midnight. But it was very, very scary.
Yeah.
Like literally scary. Because if it's something with your heart, it makes you think.
Yeah.
And this is something we all have in our chest. Like we've had it our whole lives. Have you ever thought once about it? Not really. No. Unless you hear someone saying something. So I went home with that, knowing I have AFib. So thank God I was in AFib in December for about 7 days, and they sent me to the emergency. And there they said they weren't going to do the, because I wasn't really suffering with it. So it's one of these things, and I'm not a doctor by any means, but from what I've learned, and when people Google it,
Yeah.
it's a very gray area. Like some people are triggered by too much exercise, not enough exercise, overweight, drinking coffee. Some people can tolerate coffee, alcohol, could be any of these things. Some people have terrible experiences with it. Absolutely terrible. That if they feel their heart, like they say that it's like, what's the word? Butterflies in your chest.
Okay. Yeah.
But it is progressive, so it's not going to go away. It doesn't go away. You always have it. It is progressive, so then you need to do things to make sure you don't go into it, because every time you do, it's more strain on your heart. Because he explained to me that there's the top of the heart and the bottom of the heart, and when your top of the heart is, again, I'm like, I've never knew any of this. If it's fluttering,
Yeah.
it's not pumping properly. And so when it's not pumping properly, it can cause clots. That's why they give you the blood thinner. So there's a few other things surrounding that. So now I'm scheduled for an ablation, which means that they go in. Actually, I don't even know what it is. I don't even want to know. But they go in and it's supposed to correct it. And in a lot of people, you only need it to be done once and it should be done. But
Wow.
so it just, I'm talking about it calmly now, and there's way worse things. I've had a lot of friends with all different things. So it's not the biggest thing in the world. And they did do a cardiograph on my heart. What do they call it?
Angiogram?
My heart, not angiogram, no.
Oh.
They test the heart. So
Okay.
my heart itself was good. That's the one thing they want to check. There was a widening of one of the ventricles, I think, but that's fairly common. So, but yeah, at the time it was so scary. And then, I thought, Belinda, that's what it is now, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to die. That's what they tell you. You can't die from this, right? And so it's controllable, but it really is just an irregular heartbeat. But it's not really just an irregular heartbeat because that affects a lot of the other pieces. So yes, so that night at the Creating Connections, I was all consumed by it.
Yeah.
Like I was literally all consumed by it. It was all I could think about. I was so stressed. I was on blood thinners for 30 days. And now they've continued me on them. But yeah, so it was just right here. So I couldn't go through the evening without sharing that piece.
Yeah.
And that's when I did.
And I'm really glad that you did, because
Thank
number
you.
one, I think it helped, well, number one, for other women, right? Because like you mentioned there, you almost didn't go. You almost brushed it off.
And I'm
saying
honestly
it's
not
a
just
big
saying
deal.
that to be dramatic. I probably would not have gone if
Yeah.
I was by myself. Who wants to just suddenly go to the emergency for however many hours, right?
Exactly. Because when you go into emergency, I mean, the doctors are doing the best they can, but everything's triage and you don't know.
Takes forever. Yeah. And again, with all due respect, it's quicker in Okotoks than anywhere else. But yes.
Yeah. You don't always want to make the
No.
decision to go. And then sometimes I know when I'm thinking of going, it's like, oh, there's somebody else who's worse off than me. Do I really need to go?
Yeah.
So you kind of, once again, not maybe putting yourself or making yourself important of what's
100%.
happening.
Yeah.
It's important. And I think it is important, right, for people to know this and say, you know what, this isn't just something silly. You need to, if it's something out of the ordinary, you need to go in.
And they did
get it
say that to me.
checked.
They said it's very, very lucky that you came in, with a heart rate at 180.
And then
And they have no idea what caused it that morning. No idea.
Yeah. And then I think also just sitting with it and going through that experience, I think it just really, it just makes you realize your mortality, right?
100%.
We are not going to live forever.
Yeah.
And, like yourself, you're not ready. There's still so much you probably want to, get done.
I was terrified. I was terrified laying in that hospital bed. My daughter sitting beside me. I had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah. And so since then, do you feel like you're taking better care of yourself? Like there's more focus on self-care?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That also combined, and I'm pretty sure, to be honest, mine was stress related. That's one of the big things of it.
Yeah.
One of the big pieces is stress. I was struggling a little bit, and I've been really open about this, caring for my mom for 6 years, and which I love her dearly, but it was too much for one person. And I did have an incident prior to that, actually in the spring, where I had to call 911 because I was just having, which someone said after was just a like a panic attack. There was just too much. My mum had gone to hospital I had to call an ambulance for my mum in the morning. And then 2 hours later, and when they came back, they said, like, we could have guaranteed we were coming back for you. You're under so much stress right now. So
Wow.
I did go to the hospital then. Then my mum was placed on an emergency situation, which wasn't ideal. It happened all really quickly. And now, thank God, she's great. I had a great visit with her yesterday. I'm learning to take care of myself. So I'm not putting that all on my mum by any means, but it's just stress in our lives in general.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I have been. So now I don't have my mum to take care of 24/7. So that is definitely me trying to focus on myself.
Yeah.
And again, as women, we're always taking care of someone.
We're always taking,
Right?
Yeah, we're in that caregiver role, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes we want to be. I know I want to
Of course.
be in the caregiver role, but
But it can take its toll.
Yeah, and that whole story of you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Yeah.
If your cup is depleted,
Yeah.
then you're going to, get sick or something. I mean, even just going on myself several years ago, I was also incredibly stressed, trying to be the emotional support for everybody, doing everything. And I actually ended up with shingles.
Yes, that's a huge one.
And very much it's caused, a lot of the
Yes.
time it's caused,
Very much so.
by stress that triggers it. And that was my wake-up call.
And that's supposed to be awful.
Yes,
Shingles.
it is very painful.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, once again, going back to it's your wake up call, right? Now you
Yeah.
need to put things in place. And that's actually when I had that in the February, and it was the summer when I had first gone to, Foothills Wellness Retreat and had my first sound bath and meditation,
Oh,
where I started learning, a bit more self care and how to de stress. Because I think when you're, always in stress mode, like you're in that fight or flight mode consistently, like your body never knows how to come down.
very true.
And then when I think back to that time now, and as I was calming myself, it didn't feel right. Like my body being in a calmer mode almost felt abnormal to me.
Yes.
And I'm smiling now because I remember my husband saying to me, like, you're irritated, like you're itching for a fight.
I know.
It's like you're looking for some stress.
Yes.
He's like, you're looking to stress yourself out about something
Yes.
because you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yes.
And I was like, well, I've been stressed for 40 years.
Yes.
You're right. I don't
Your
know
body
how
is
to,
coming down.
and it doesn't like it. It doesn't, like, if you don't know what no stress feels like,
Yes.
it feels uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right. And so you have to learn how to de-stress. And then it's a continued thing. It's almost like you don't just de-stress once and then stay there because it's so easy to
Yes.
climb back up.
And then to also decide what you want to do with the times when you're not stressed, when you're not like doing all the other things, right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I know for myself, when my mom, so it was in June, and then afterwards I was like, oh, like, who is Sandy Scott? What do I do
Yeah.
now? Right? Like,
Yeah.
and then at the same time, my daughter, now they became engaged, my daughter and her fiance. So it was really like a transition for me, like, as
Yeah.
far as, like, I take care of my mom, I take care of my daughter. Now they're both in great play. Of course, I'm still going to take care of them,
Yeah.
but not so hands-on, so to
Mhm.
speak. And then it's like, who is Sandy Scott? What do? I just work. I do mortgages. That's all I do. There must be something else. So then I've started doing things. So as far as, and thank you for sharing your story too about shingles. I know my ex-husband had that years ago too, and it was awfully painful. And his
Yeah.
was under stress too.
Yeah.
Awfully painful.
Yeah. It's very painful. I think it's interesting though, because you and I are about 10 years apart.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. We can
No, it's okay.
Sarah cut that out.
That's okay. No, I'm teasing.
But what I'm thinking about is that what you said, that who is Sandy Scott? And I went through that last year. Who is Belinda? What brings Belinda joy? What does Belinda like to do? Because also being the caregiver as my children were getting
And your
older
boys are growing up. Yeah.
and they didn't need me as much, it was like I had to sit with myself and think, what do I want to do?
Other than just running a business.
Other than running a business and doing all these different things. And the journey is not over. I have definitely found, one or two things.
Your Rotary Club.
I like the Rotary Club. I do like the sound bars and stuff. But, for me, and honestly, sitting sounds really silly, but sitting just with my cats purring on my lap.
I know.
It's just so, like, I'm grateful, for the
Yes.
sound and the and sharing
Oh, I
their
love that.
energy, right? Like
Yeah.
that's something that I love to do, is just
Yes.
being in that space with them.
What kind of cats do you have? Just regular?
Just rescues. They're
Yeah.
both about 11 and a half now. In actual fact,
Oh, wow, that's
the
good, eh?
boy has now got a bit of, he's diabetic now, so we're busy learning with the insulin and all of
Oh,
that. But I mean, he is 11 and a half, you know,
I know, it's a good
purely indoor
age.
cats.
Yeah.
So they are all loving and stuff. But yeah, it is. It's
I
kind
know
of
pets show
interesting.
so much unconditional love.
They're there.
I
And then we
know.
have the dog as well. So yeah, just like learning who you are
And it's okay to just sit
and that it's okay to just sit. That's a
with
big
the
one.
cats. I know.
Because we're so used to being busy, right? You got to cook dinner, you got to clean up,
I
you got
know.
to drive here.
And it just
That's
becomes like I mean, for years, and I know things are changing now, one's self-worth was, or even external, what am I trying to say? Like if someone was busy, it was a badge of honor.
Yes.
Now it's actually stupid.
yes, we'll be learning.
It's gone
Yeah, and
from
we have to
that.
unlearn that. Like I think
Yeah.
going back to, I mean, even our generations have to unlearn. It's not a
Yeah.
badge of honor,
No.
right? And even I've said to my kids several times, because I had taught them to be busy, right?
Yes.
And now it's
Yes.
like, now trying to unteach them to be busy
Yeah.
and saying, take time, you know?
Yeah.
So it's okay that when you get home from school that you just do nothing.
Because they followed our example. I know.
They followed our example. And also maybe our pressure, you know, I didn't like to see them just sitting around, you know,
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Don't you have anything to do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It felt uncomfortable
Yes.
for me because I didn't know how to do it. So,
Yes.
you know, like, why are they doing
And my
this?
daughter does that really well, actually. And I don't mean that. She's 22 now, but she loves to crochet. She's a huge crocheter. She sells us some of her stuff. And she'll just sit.
Yeah.
I still don't really do that, to be honest. I'm still always doing something, but in a different way.
But in a different way.
But yeah, I said, oh, yeah, I'm just crocheting. She's crocheting little things for her wedding favors and different things. She just loves to she'll just sit and crochet and just take the time out.
Yeah.
So I think she actually learned from me to do the opposite in some ways.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be like completely, because she'll say, Mom, it's okay to do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? What do you mean?
What is that? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, I get that. And even for myself, one of the things I learned last year is we put a fire pit in the backyard. So we don't use it during winter.
No.
But of course, when it's safe and good, it's beautiful just to watch the
Yes.
flames, you know, and that's something
Right.
that I like. So good learning.
Because that's usually what
like.
we only do when we're on vacation, right? Or camping or something like that. So to do it in your
Yes.
own backyard is
It's
bringing that vacation mode.
into your home,
Yeah.
right? It's like creating that life. Somebody actually said that to me, is create that life you don't want to escape from, right?
Yes.
So have that
Yeah.
vacation in your backyard. So when you need it, you can go
Yeah.
outside and have that fire pit and watch the flames dance and all of that
Yes.
type of thing.
That reminds me of a sign my daughter, I've got it up on my, it says, and so they built a life they loved.
There we go. And that's it. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. And just to answer your question, the other question about health. So yes, I've exercised on and off over the years, decided to lose weight on and off over the years, as a lot of women. And then I did, so I'm kind of all or nothing. So then I just built a gym in my basement, and including the black, like I ordered the black tiles from Amazon.
Okay.
So half my basement, I put that down and I put my machines there and my weights, and I've been doing that. I've been working out, which I feel great about. Just making, and honestly, not as regular as I should be, but just making the time to do that.
Yes.
And that in itself, even knowing I did that without even working out, I felt better about myself.
Yeah.
Thinking, okay, well, I do intend to work out. I do have that all built.
Yeah.
And I was used to, go on the treadmill on and off. But now I'm just trying to make, as we were speaking earlier with Sarah, about a routine and making that part really, like making that. And that's what I think my daughter's generation, she's 22, are a lot better at that than us, right?
Yeah.
As women, we've always sacrificed. So making that
a priority.
as opposed, so I have a meeting with you at 10, and then, I'm still not good at it, but because I'm going to the gym at 11, whether it be to your basement or wherever. But that's always that I do everything else apart from that. And then it gets to the end of the day and it isn't done, right? So it needs to be slotted into your calendar like a priority.
Exactly. Because if we don't prioritize it, we all know it's not going to happen. Right. And then you create that discipline. I think it starts with motivation, and then motivation leads to discipline, right? And then you're just doing it. every
Yes.
single day. So
And yeah, because you don't do anything on motivation afterwards, right? That's what I
no,
say.
like you're motivated for, I don't know. I don't
Who's
know what,
motivated? No one's
yeah,
motivated to work out, really, right?
yeah,
But yeah, you start off and then it just becomes a habit.
and that's it.
Habit is better than just than motivation because you're never going to
Absolutely.
be motivated.
Yeah.
And after the first initial time,
Yeah. So, Sandy, is there anything else you wanted to share with our viewers today?
all I was going to say is, yeah, as women, we should be doing all that stuff, lifting weights and heart health, like heart health.
Yeah. Heart
I
health.
didn't even think about it before.
Heart health. Yeah.
Yeah, heart health is super important. And that's what I'm working on because that is the thing that's going to keep us going, right? God
Yeah.
forbid, unless you get something else
Yeah.
health wise, it's
Yeah.
the heart, which is one of the big pieces. And then, I mean, my business, I've been doing that for almost 20 years in Okotoks, got mortgages. I love that. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Love helping people do lots of work my business is probably organically now mostly Okotoks, I would say, my
Okay.
clients.
Yeah.
And I love helping people with that. It
Okay.
sounds so corny, honestly. But I just, yeah, I love the feeling of
Yeah.
that. So was telling my daughter this morning, actually, it just brought tears. I met a friend. I was actually talking to her on the way to Costco, and then I met her in Costco on Saturday, and I'd helped to get into a home after a marriage. And
It can be life changing for
yeah,
people. You get to help.
it's so humbling. Yeah. And I always share my story. I was there myself, like everyone's had situations. When I came out of my marriage, I wasn't able to buy a home right away.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And I have a lot of women who come and she even said to me, she goes, you didn't make me feel like bad, or I said, I would never
Yeah.
anyway. She said, my, issues with the credit or whatever. And she said, you just made everything. I said, well, of course I would. Like, that's a given, right?
Yeah.
And that's about vulnerability when you share your stories. And I never used to for the longest time.
Yeah.
And we all have lots of stories to share.
I think it goes back to the community, right? If
Mhm.
we don't have those community connections, we're not comfortable sharing, right? So we have to build that little circle
Yes.
and increase the circles and bring people in. But we have to start with creating those community and
Yes.
connections and then feel comfortable
Of
to be
course.
vulnerable. Yeah.
Feel comfortable to be. And I think connection comes through vulnerability.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I do remember it, and my business is honestly, if I look back, my business has, whether boomed, whatever, grown since I changed how I don't say connected, spoke with people. Like,
Yeah.
because I never want anyone on the other end of the phone thinking they're speaking to someone who's, highfalutin. Because, when you call someone that you're not comfortable with,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
say I was calling for, I don't know, whatever, car insurance or house
Yeah.
insurance, asking advice on something. You just think that person is here and then you're just like, you don't know anything about it. So I don't ever want to. So I just say to people, like people say, oh, I've come out of marriage. Maybe my husband did all the fine. I don't really know anything about it. My credit's bad. Mine wasn't the case of him doing the financing, but just, coming out of that and starting over.
Yeah.
And I've been there, like, and they still, thanks for saying that. Like, I just have been feeling so bad and they just help people.
Mm-hmm.
So many women who have come out of marriages I've helped with, and many mortgage brokers, not just me, help them feel more comfortable. They don't necessarily want to go into a bank.
Yeah.
And I honestly take that as such an honor in a small town.
Yeah.
That so many people have trusted me with their finances.
Yeah. It is an honor, I think, right? Because once again, it's showing their vulnerability. And also, I think in this age of social media and AI, everybody's putting their best self forward, right?
Yes.
So you're seeing this picture perfect life of everybody
Mhm.
else, and
Yeah.
then you're almost ashamed because yours isn't like that, right?
Yes.
And so,
And then you don't want to approach anyone.
and you don't want
because
to
you
approach
think,
anyone because
I
you
don't want them
feel
to
like you're not
know.
in that same, league, right?
Mhm.
And they're going to laugh at you or, judge you or something,
Yes.
right?
100%, Belinda. Yeah.
And really, most of us are all in that same boat, and I know that
Yes.
there's different size boats and but I think
Yeah.
a lot of us are in, that same boat together. We
Yeah.
just don't realize it. And so that being vulnerable, we're not able to help each other grow and improve. At everything.
Exactly. Yes. Because then people are starting to share, right?
Yeah.
To share their stories. Because Same, yours is different on a way that I've dealt with you in your business when my mum and I came in there and we felt so comfortable. You did such an amazing job.
Yeah. I think it's the same thing, right? It's being vulnerable, knowing the difference I can make in a person's life, right? Knowing how important
Yes.
hearing is, right? It's your
huge.
support for your long-term cognitive health, right? It can impact your balance, never mind your relationships, anxiety, depression. So yeah, and sometimes people, still want to brush it aside, right? It's just
Yes.
hearing, right? And that's something we're trying to get away from because it really does impact your quality of life.
Oh,
right?
gosh, 100%.
And so, yeah, and then obviously having the reward of really helping people, and improving their quality of life, right? That's what
That must feel it. And I'm assuming it's mostly seniors, but obviously there is people who lose their hearing at all stages of life.
So I think going back to the stats once again, in Canada, 60% of adults aged 19 to 79 have a hearing health concern. And that can be hearing loss, and it can be tinnitus, and it can be a combination. But that's just
tinnitus.
Tinnitus, tinnitus, tomato, tomato.
Right, yeah. I was just trying to get the word, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that this shows you like how prevalent it is and how necessary it is to treat and how rewarding, the career is it. And that's part of what started the
60%,
podcast, right? Is
yes.
to create that awareness of the importance of your hearing health, right? To go on in to get tested. Same thing with your heart. Like if you don't know that it's even
Who knew?
It can be a concern, right? So it's to
Yeah.
create that awareness to people to go in, get tested, even if it's a baseline to know where you're at. And then because maybe you're asking yourself, you know what? When I go out with my friends, I don't hear as well as them.
Well-
I'm asking them to repeat, right?
Yeah.
So then go get tested, right? Whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, go get tested. It can impact you at any time.
And I know it's probably an obvious question, but what you just, how would people know? But I guess you just would realize that you're hearing less.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that
obviously.
is that you don't know because
Right.
sometimes
How do you know what you're supposed to hear?
yeah, like sometimes you forget that there's a sound attached to an action, right? And so if you don't go in and get tested, you don't necessarily know you even have a hearing loss, right? And so, and obviously we can change as well, like our bodies do change. And so you have to get tested, on a regular basis as well. I always say same thing as you'd have your eyes checked or, go to the dentist. You have to go in to be checked because unfortunately our bodies do change. And yet you don't know what you're missing.
Yes.
Until you actually got a good set of, hearing aids and they are helping you hear better. And you're like, oh my gosh, I had forgotten all these different sounds and everything. So.
And everything, and especially I would imagine, obviously one-to-one is different, but in a room full of people, you're thinking, well, should I be hearing that person at the end of the table? Or maybe it's just a muffle, right?
Exactly, yeah. And so going back to you don't know what you're missing until you can actually start hearing it again. And also the whole, they talk about the cognitive strain of listening, especially noise with the hearing loss, right? So if it's untreated, your brain is working so much harder to interpret all those different
of course,
sounds.
it would be super stressful.
Yeah, so stress, being tired, and they're really just doing a lot more research on that right now. And so we're gaining a better understanding of how, important it is to treat your hearing loss and sooner. So so going back to the education part, the community, just reaching out, telling people, because how else do we learn, right? We have to reach out into our community, tell people the importance, have a safe space for them to come in.
Yes.
And, be tested or looked at. And and that's what's really is great about Okotoks.
It is.
Well.
It is. And it's also, and things that, again, I didn't know anything about, probably maybe people are watching I have heard of AFib, I've heard of this, but everyone has different things. So I'll often tell people paying your mortgage, if you paid it accelerated biweekly, you can pay it sooner. I'll have people who are literally my age or your age, who have been paying their mortgage monthly their whole lives. Well, nobody told me that. The bank didn't tell me that. It's just one tiny little thing that they could have paid their mortgage off 5 years sooner. Yeah. Probably a lot more than that. It's so just a little thing, but people are, I didn't know that. Yeah. So I often think I would want to do more speaking and educating people because there are a lot of basic things about finances in general, but definitely mine's area of expertise is mortgages, that people don't don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's not common knowledge, some of that stuff. Oh, I didn't know that. Or a variable rate you can lock into fixed at any time. A lot of people had no clue about that.
Yeah.
So I just give everyone all the options
And then
tell them to Google it.
Yeah.
I do sometimes, actually, to be honest, with the rates too, because people say, I say, well, this is what I would advise. 100% right now, we're in a rate declining environment. Variable's a good rate. I said, but ask around. Like, seriously, Google it, right? Like, because there's a lot of different opinions. Everyone has different comfort levels. And I always joke and say I was an expert on mortgages until during COVID. And then when the prime rate went so far up, that none of us really expected that to happen.
Yeah.
So, it's people just telling people things that they maybe didn't.
I think that's a great way to end the show today, is just to go back to the focus on the importance of creating connections within the community and looking after your own health, right? Taking that step, getting yourself checked for different things. And I don't think you have to run to the doctor for everything, but maybe, schedule that family doctor, check up once a year or whatever's recommended through Alberta Health, and just taking charge. And then reducing your stress.
What I want to share too is that I have, been having my business here in town over the years. And one thing people often say, I've heard people say, oh, if I'm at the trade show, oh, I see you do a lot of this stuff. Like, does it help your business? And I always say, anytime I can put myself in front of people, connect with people, especially having a home-based business, and form a community, not intentionally, but just people say, oh, I saw Sandi here, I saw Sandi here. That is how I believe my business has thrived.
Yeah.
So, yes, it does help going to these things, joining the chamber, joining the groups, those kind of things, because you're not going to meet people sitting at home. People aren't going to know what you do sitting at home. And it is a great community. That's what I met. It was the chamber golf tournament that I met your husband. So circling back, that's just what I wanted to share. And I think it's super important. Yeah. And I love this community that we live in.
Me too. And thank you. And thank you so much for being a guest. It was so much fun chatting with you today.
Thank you, Belinda. It was lovely chatting with you too and learning more about you.